Hey everyone, my name's Adam, and this is my channel where I give you the tools you need to live your best life. And today, I want to talk about suffering. And if you're suffering, this video is for you. I want to give you some of my top tips for how to navigate seasons of suffering based on my experience when I got sick about 4 years ago. So make sure to stay tuned till the end because I know you're going to find all of these tips highly beneficial and useful in your own journey. So as beautiful as life is also really hard, and suffering is inevitable. We're all going to experience times of life where we experience some sort of pain that leads to suffering. For me, like I said, this happened about 4 years ago when I got really sick. I have a video on my channel where I talk about that, but I'll give you the short version right now. It was the day after Father's Day in 2018. I woke up and I felt like I was living in somebody else's body. I had just been going super hard, and I don't know what I did or what happened, but there was some straw that broke the camel's back, and I, for the next really 2 years, was just really struggling and really in an intense season of suffering. But the good news is that I got through that, and I'm doing so much better now, and I live a life that I love. But that season, it was really like a master class in suffering. I learned so much, and I really developed a lot of compassion in that season for people who suffer. And so that's why I started this YouTube channel, and that's why I want to make this video today. So here are my 4 tips if you're experiencing a season of suffering. So the first is, even though it seems like it'll never get better, it can, all right? Situations change. Nothing is static. Situations can improve, and minimally, your mindset can improve. So I think one of the hardest things when you're going through a season of suffering is the feeling of hopelessness that you feel. I just remember waking up in the morning and being up for like 15 minutes and being like, I want to go to bed. I don't know how I'm going to do, 10 more hours of this today, let alone a whole lifetime of having to live like this. I saw no end. I felt so hopeless. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was exhausted. But as I started to expose myself to different authors and different books and different philosophies, I've learned that nothing in life stays the same forever. I also learned through Stoicism that while we don't have control over what happens to us in this life, we do have control over our response to it. And that gave me so much power and helped me dig myself out of the hole I was in. Hey, by the way, if you're enjoying this video and it's providing value for you, if you would like it and subscribe to this channel to see more videos like it, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you want to support the work I'm doing on this channel, you can do so by visiting my Buy Me a Coffee page. Our next tip on suffering is something that somebody who I greatly admire taught me. It was a therapist, and she said, Adam, suffering equals pain times resistance, all right? So just because we're experiencing pain, it doesn't mean that we have to suffer. The more that we resist that pain, the more we magnify our suffering, the more we experience suffering. And that's why I think that meditation is such a helpful tool for us in every area of life, but especially with suffering, is because when we meditate, we learn. I just made a video about this yesterday with tinnitus and visual snow. We learn to sit with the sensations, the emotions, and other things in our bodies and in our minds that we may not like, and acknowledge that they're there, but not respond to them negatively. We learn to not resist them, but to accept them and to be in the present moment. And so that ability, that skill really can help us reduce our amount of suffering. So remember, suffering equals pain times resistance. This next point, no one likes to hear it really when they're going through a time of suffering, but it's true. Suffering builds character and it gives us purpose. I came across this Helen Keller quote today. She said, "Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved." And I've found that to be so true in my own life. It's really interesting. Before I got sick, and I'm going to make a video about this at some point, but I drank a lot, and I had been sober for about 3 months before I got sick. And when I got sober, I really started working on myself, and I identified some things that I really wanted to get better at. So one of them was I really wanted to rewire the unhealthy thought patterns that were in my mind. And I had tried to do that before. I think that drinking was a big thing that was preventing me from being able to do that. But even in those 3 months when I quit drinking, it's like I experienced just so much resistance when I tried to do that. And a lot of those unhealthy habits, those unhealthy thought patterns that I just referred to, I was able to develop healthier ones and replace those only because of what I went through when I got sick. If I wouldn't have gotten sick, I don't know that I would have been able to accomplish that. I don't understand it. I'm not saying that the universe conspired for me to get sick, but I am saying that I totally agree with that Helen Keller quote where there are certain things that only can be taught by suffering. Sometimes suffering is the best teacher. In the Bible, in the book of James, it talks about how we should count it as joy when we face trials of various kinds. And that's such a crazy thought, right? Consider it joy when bad stuff happens to you, but it makes sense. I don't understand it fully. I don't even like it that much, but I've found it to be true in my own life that sometimes suffering is the catalyst you need to become the person that you want to become. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes suffering is the teacher that you need to become the person that you want to become. It's good. And last but not least, if you're suffering, know that you're not alone. I talked about my journey a little bit, but when I was suffering, it was awful. I didn't know how I was going to get through it. Like I said, I was so hopeless. If you're suffering right now and you're still with me, listen, I know how you feel. It is not fun. You probably feel lonely. You may even feel like no one else can relate to what you're going through. If it's a chronic illness, you may feel like, man, I've never met anyone who has the symptoms in the way that I do. What if I'm the one person who's never going to get better? Or if you just went through a breakup, you might be thinking to yourself, I don't know how my heart is ever going to recover from this. Listen, suffering sucks. It is not fun, but you are not alone, okay? So, if you're watching this right now, you can just put in the comments below, just put for those of you watching this video, you're not alone. Let's flood the comments section with just comments of support for people who are suffering and watching this video. And I want to encourage you, if you feel alone, reach out, give a friend a call and say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling a little lonely today. Would you be able to hang out? Give a family member a call. Sign up for therapy. I'm a big fan of therapy. If it's BetterHelp or if it's a therapist you've been to before, maybe you go to your doctor and you just tell your doctor what's going on. Or if you belong to a religious community, maybe, you meet with one of the pastors at the church and just say, hey, here's what I'm going through. Can you pray for me? But just know that you're not alone. And that first point, okay, not only are you not alone, but even though it seems like it can never get better, it can. I'm proof of that, and I know that it can get better for you too. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And also, if you want to support the work I'm doing on an ongoing basis, you can visit my Buy Me a Coffee page. Thanks so much, and have a great day.